We just kind of pick on the car analogy that Nish just made and said, I'm curious to, so when he said that there's no affordability on behalf of car buyers, I actually want to ask the question, why did the car manufacturers get into manufacturing cars in the first place? Did they not study this? What was the thought process then, and what's changed? Because the fact of the matter is that there are new car manufacturers coming in almost every month. So what are we missing here? Now that in some sense kind of sums up what I think we're going to be talking about. It's almost a very basic question. If your customers did not ever have the ability to pay, why was a rational business decision taken to get into a legitimate for-profit business? Just in terms of background, so I represent an organization called Springboard here, which is a fairly new organization. But this organization, as I call it, is in some sense it's an ideas lab. It's a work in progress. It's a for-profit entity. Don't get me wrong, but to try and find solutions to this who pays conundrum. It's essentially an organization that's in the student loan, skills training financing business. So are we deploying our capital as loans? Yes. Are we just advising and building ecosystems of training institutions and employers to enable this financing ecosystem? Yes. Do we have foolproof methods to perform credit risk evaluations and recover loans? No, but we've got a few ideas that we're testing. Today we've given out about, so it's the organization about 6 months old. We've given out about 200 loans based in Mumbai. We work exclusively with training institutes, which means the loans are given out to training institutes. Various forms. Sometimes it's given right at the beginning of training. Sometimes it's given at the end of the 3-month training program. But there's one condition that we've imposed. The training institutes have to carry the risk until the time the risk gets transferred to the employer. So the training institute carries this risk of the person that they have assessed and shortlisted for training, that they believe can be repaired and cured and be put in the jobs ecosystem. So until such time, the risk has to be borne by the training provider. After that, we work with the employer ecosystem, and that's where I think the point that Rajesh made earlier about how we're all missing the point about organized versus unorganized jobs here. Because for us to be able to be in business, we can only work with the organized employer ecosystem. And with the employers, we have certain ground rules that we work with, which is where we say the employer does have to deduct repayments through the payroll, which means there has to be a payroll in the first place. Second, no more than at most 30% of the monthly or annual wages will go into repayment of the training loan. And we try and do it as within a 9-month repayment schedule, but at most it's a 12-month repayment schedule. So I guess it goes back to an earlier point that was made about how there is people are willing to pay up to 3 times the cost, 3 times a monthly wage as the cost of the training program, which kind of confirms with some of the rules that we work with. So that's the broad framework in which we're working. We are willing to risk some capital and come up with some ideas for this. But these are some basic principles that we work with, and we are hoping that we will find some answers to this who pays question, which can hopefully catalyze this entire industry.